Hello and welcome to another session of Late Night Games. Today we are playing Shogun 2 Total War. It's a real-time strategy as well as turn-based strategy game set based in feudal Japan at the end of the Ashikaga Shogunate. We are playing Ashikaga, sorry. We are playing with myself, Paul, and Dave as well. Dave will be playing as the Tokugawa clan, and I will be playing as the Date clan. Dave, would you like to say a few words before we get started?
I just hope everyone enjoys this one, and it should be a lot of fun. Please note that we're not experts at this game, but we do enjoy playing it, and we hope you enjoy watching us as well.
Alright, let's get this party started.
I'll be taking my turn first, so Paul can explain a few of the basic mechanics of the game.
Alright, so once we get past the loading screen, as I had mentioned earlier, this game does have a turn-based element. Each clan gets to take their turn managing their resources, moving units around, upgrading their facilities, and deploying their armies. During battle, however, it switches to a real-time strategy game where you have to use the armies you have deployed in a strategic battle to try and defeat the enemy. You can also auto-resolve battles, which allow mathematics to do the work for you, but math never can hold up to the same level as a good strategy can.
That's correct. Sometimes even if you're at a major disadvantage numbers-wise, you can still do quite a lot of damage and even win a battle. So it's important to choose your battles wisely with this game.
We're just at the loading screen. It is a fairly large game, and there is a lot in the background that is running, so it does take some time to get started. Now, while Dave is going about maneuvering his troops, I'm going to just show you the basics of clan management. On the overview map, you have each of the provinces. Every province has a castle town, and then you also have your soldiers which move around, and that's the primary items you'll see on the overview map. When clicking on a castle town, this allows you to upgrade the various buildings, upgrade the resources you have in the province, which aren't necessarily in the castle itself, but they're throughout the province. For example, the rice paddies. If I look in the province, I should be able to find them somewhere. Here they are, the rice paddy fields. Those provide food to my territories. You also have your finances, where you're able to control your tax level like any good simulation game has. Your projected income, the current level of public order can also be seen. There is the ability to go into diplomacy to communicate with other clans, and to change your mastery of the arts. This is an overview skill tree that allows you to change what masteries your clan has. These will evolve a couple turns at a time. Further down the tree takes a longer amount of turns. In the end, this is the way to advance your civilization to a greater level, but we'll go in more details as my turn comes up. Dave still has 4 minutes and 28 seconds left of his turn. However, he can end it early and is probably waiting for me to stop yammering on before he does so.
I was actually just in the diplomacy, which Paul will explain, I'm sure, on his turn. Just starting to build up some trade partners and whatnot. And now I'm just moving the starting armies into my castle for better defensive position. And one more action to build the stronghold. And now it's your turn, Paul.
Alright, so now that it's my turn, you'll actually be able to see things as they're occurring. I have one army. This army currently contains the brother of the daimyo, which is my brother. I play as the daimyo. A Yuri samurai unit, which is a spearman, effective against horses, not very effective against other melee units. 2 Yuri Ashigaru. Ashigaru are similar to, I guess, if you hand farmers weapons in the feudal era, as opposed to properly trained militaries. And the Bow Ashigaru, which again is a bow unit that is of a lesser quality. The lesser quality units are smaller in numbers and smaller in defense, but far less expensive to train. So they have their drawbacks and their advantages. Now on the top here you'll see my turn clock. This is constantly counting down unless I am in the diplomacy menu, which I will show you now. Diplomacy allows you to communicate with any of the other clans that you are aware of the existence of, or any of your allies is aware of the existence of, which is why there are so many visible. Dave and myself automatically start as allies, and we are not able to break this. This is because we are playing in a cooperative campaign. I also have one trade partner to start, who is directly to the south of me, and I have one enemy who I am currently at war with, the Megami. The Megami are to my west, and they are probably going to be the first group I have to fight against or defend myself against.
It's important to note, Paul said west, because the map is essentially Japan turned on its side. What is north would be on the east side of the map, and what is west would be on the, or what is south would be on the west side of the map. For the purposes of this recording, we're going to actually say northeast, southwest as they appear on the map, rather than as they appear in real Japan, just because it makes things easier for us.
Yeah, I don't want my head hurting too much. It's already a game late at night. Now this is my Date clan overview. This allows me to see how my clan is doing as a base overview, what my clan's set religion is. Religion is something that I'll discuss more in probably a few turns when it becomes important, as well as my current family. I can see my children, my brothers, and any generals I have, and be able to assign people to positions such as Minister of War, which is my brother. I also have my younger brother, who's too young to do anything at this point, even though he's 18, and that's an adult in feudal Japan. And I have my wife. Currently, my 2-year-old son is the heir to the daimyo ship, as, well, who's going to give it to their brother when they have a son?
Very true.
Now, aside from moving my units, that's really all I'm going to do this turn, because it is fairly early on. Now, each of the NPC turns will go through a lot faster than ours will, because they don't have to think near as long and hard as we do. And they don't have to explain things, as they're wonderful NPCs. As you can see, there are far more clans than I have currently available on my diplomacy map, or Dave has available on his, I would assume.
Yes, that's correct. Reason being, we haven't encountered them as yet.
Now, while Dave takes his next turn, I'm going to move around the map and show you some key points. On the map, you'll see these small little symbols that look like anchors. If you can get boats, trade vessels specifically, to these points, it engages in foreign trade routes, which is an important way to bring finances to your, is I guess the best word for it, your clan. You need to keep the coffers full of resources going, otherwise you're going to run out of money really fast in this game.
And unlike with the banking system that we have today, if a country or a clan is in debt, there's simply just not enough food for everyone to eat. People start to get angry, and your provinces can actually revolt against you, so it's important to keep your finances in check. Now I'm just, haven't done much on my turn. I've just recruited some more units, and I'm just waiting now to, just taking a look at my Master of the Arts to make sure I'm researching what I want to research, and I think that's about all I'm going to do for this turn, so on to you, Paul.
Now, if you'll notice, while Dave was talking there, I was going through the buildings within the castle town. I can assign construction to occur when it's not my turn. Construction, however, does not begin until the end of my turn processes, and that's when the turns count down. So I upgraded my fort to a stronghold, and another thing I'm going to do is upgrade my blacksmith. The blacksmith is a special unit, a special building assigned to this province. Most provinces do have one special unit, one special building that's particular to that province. It's something that makes that province unique among the rest. And I can either upgrade it to an armorer, which increases the armor for all the units recruited in this area, or to a weaponsmith, which increases the attack. Currently, as a blacksmith, it does 1 melee and 1 attack for anyone recruited. By focusing as one or the other, it increases the boost to 2, but it only focuses on one of the 2 stats. I'm also going to upgrade my harbor to allow me to start creating a naval fleet. as naval superiority is something that's hard to attain in this game, but it can mean a lot. I'm also going to move my armies into the Ugo province, which is where my enemies are located. And I'm going to strike at their rice paddies, damaging it and reducing their food income, which is going to cause some unrest within the province. And now I will end my turn.
Just while we're waiting for the NPCs to go through their attack. Oh, never mind. As I'm sure you can see now on the video, the Oda clan has attacked my capital. So, just while we wait to load, it'll give me the choice to auto-resolve and or complete this battle. I'm going to fight this battle because we're relatively even matched, and I can stand to lose a lot less if I fight it out myself.
I'm going to spectate Dave, be able to watch the battle from a free-moving camera. Won't have any direct control, but since he and I are communicating live via voice, I'll be able to act as a second pair of eyes for him watching units. Now, Dave will have a slight advantage here since he is fighting himself, because he'll be able to control which units are in which position. Also, the castles are typically built on top of small hills and have walls. These walls will allow him to defend a little better than the attacker who's attacking him. So even with an even number of units, Dave will have the home court advantage here, which is a lot better than if he met him out in the field.
That's correct. Terrain in battles is very important. Obviously, shooting an arrow down a hill is a lot easier than shooting one up a hill. You can hide in trees and light brush, depending on the size of the unit as well, and the type of unit. Stealth can be a very, very big advantage. When the battle screen loads, I'll get the opportunity to place my units. Obviously, I'm going to want to place them within the castle, and hopefully I can kind of guess where he's going to attack from so that I can have arrows pointed at him as soon as he comes within range. Not the easiest of things to do, but I do have 2 bony units, so I'll try to get either ends, and hopefully I'll be able to guess at least where one of his units is going to come from. There we are. Alright, so currently it seems to think he's going to come from the east. I'm actually going to do a north and south.
So let's zoom in on these units down here. This is Dave's archer units that he just moved into place. If I can get my camera to turn around. There we go. This archer unit is placed right at the wall, which will give them a distinct advantage. They'll have cover from enemy incoming fire and be able to fire outgoing fire without being obstructed, as they can just stick their bows through these small slits in the wall. When storming a castle, you're going to have to get to the castle itself. The 2 ways to do that is to either destroy the front gates by just simply breaking them down, or by climbing over the walls and then getting to the gate control on the opposite side. On the inside of the gate, there are these flags, and these flags allow you to open or close the gate if you can get your units there. As they are Dave's gates, he can open or close them whenever he wants. The enemy, however, would have to infiltrate over the walls. The walls on this fort, since Dave did make an attempt to upgrade it, I believe he mentioned, but the upgrades are not complete, so it's just a simple fort at this point.
That's correct. Now I'm just going to start the battle. We can see they're coming from east and west. So what I'm going to do, which you can't do in a multiplayer battle as easily, but since I'm the only one fighting, I'm just going to pause the game and place my archers in a better position.
Alright, Dave, just so you know, the unit on the northeast is his archer unit. I'm going to zoom to the units on the northwest and give you an update on what those are. It looks like from here I can see that he's got Coming from the northwest, some spearmen and his 2 cavalry. He's got 1 spear unit guarding both his generals that are moving in at fairly high speed. And then coming in from the more southern west point is another archer unit reinforced with 2 spear units. In order to get to your base, it looks like he's actually walking directly through a trench as opposed to walking around solid ground with his cavalry. Now this part of the battle is where it gets a little slower, and what we may do in some of the future battles, if they have a lot of points where we're just waiting for units to walk up to the base, is I can always fast forward the footage, but I'd rather not do that while I'm talking.
That's correct. Also, within the game controls, there is a fast forward option. You can go at 2 times or 4 times the speed. For the sake of this battle, and because I'm a little bit rusty, I'm going to keep it on normal speed for the majority of the time. Now, since all of his ground units are, his melee-based units are coming in from the west, I'm going to move all of my troops to meet him at the walls.
This will allow Dave to poke his glorious spears and swords downward at the enemy's faces as they are attempting to climb upward, completely defenseless. Also, the generals who are on horseback will have to dismount from their horses if they're going to want to infiltrate the castle or wait for the gates to be opened.
I can assure you the gates will not be opened in this particular battle.
You know, Dave, I've always said that these horses aren't like the horses in Skyrim and they can't walk up vertical hills, but I just watched those horses walk up a fairly steep slope without any struggle whatsoever, and now they're walking back down. I guess it's not that bad of a slope. It's not at the sharp edge of a mountain, but their back ends are definitely floating.
As you can see, Yari's samurai unit is taking pretty heavy fire.
One of the things I love about this game, as much as it does focus on strategy, the visuals are absolutely stunning. You can see the moving grass. Each arrow that Dave fires does stick into the ground and is visible. The arrows that strike units, you can see where the units have been struck. They're not simply dead, they have been struck in the arm, in the leg. When units engage in melee, they use multiple sword or spear techniques. The animation is very organic, especially for a game of this age. I believe this is a 3 or 4 year old game by now, Dave?
I believe it came out in 2010, so yeah, almost 3 years now.
Okay. This is what I meant by them having to climb up Dave's walls. And as they reach the wall, Dave's units will take them out. This unit, which we are watching, the Oda Yuri Samurai, is currently running and losing decisively. They are shaken, winded, and concerned, and their flanks are exposed. As they come through, they're just being cut down one after the other. Dave's extremely defensive position has made this battle definitely in his favor at this point. I don't know about you, but if I climbed up a wall and climbed up to the top only to be greeted by hundreds of people with spears pointing at my face, I'd think twice about climbing walls in the future. It's like watching ants climbing for food. Clambering to the top one by one, only to be cut down, for the glory of your daimyo. Let's get a higher up look at the rest of the units. So the ones that were... Why is it not letting me do this? Because that's not the button to do this. Okay. So, Dave does have some archer units that are firing at him from range. They are currently doing fairly well, as Dave is not firing back at them. Dave, you may want to get your archers focused on the enemy archers.
Yep. They should be moving into position now.
Okay. Also, the enemy's generals, one of which is the enemy's daimyo, or a relative of the daimyo as he shares the name, are just kind of sitting there chilling back, watching, not really getting into the fight because they're on horses and there's walls in the way. Horses can't climb walls. This unit of bowmen off to the east, you can see, is mostly a bunch of corpses right now. And we just watched another one go down. As Dave's arrows slowly rain in, they start dropping like little flies. One of my favorite upgrades to watch people use, which I've seen Dave use many times in the past in battle, is flaming arrows. Nothing better than having a whole slew of archer units all firing flaming arrows out of a base at the same time.
Our general is in grave danger, my lord!
Dave, that's not a good thing to be hearing. What's going on?
They're just under a little bit of arrow fire. Hopefully they won't get struck by a stray arrow. Such many great conquerors have fallen to.
It looks like they just ran out your front door.
That's correct. They're actually after the bow unit.
Okay. So Dave opened his front door and is sending his horsemen to charge and take out the archers. If you can get to them quick enough, archers have no real talent in melee combat. Now, one of the abilities you can use with an archer is to do what's called auto-skirmish. Oh, look, they've dismounted their horses and are heading towards you, Dave, with their big, giant pots of whatever on their back. I've never understood what those are on the back of the,
I'm assuming that they're spare weapons and army supplies for their army, because they are the general units. It possibly could be some kind of a growth that's affected to conquerors.
Maybe that's why they're given horses. They have a large mucus-filled membrane on their spine that has grown, and they're unable to walk without the assistance of a horse for a very long distance.
It's a possibility.
I mean, I don't know about you, but if I had to go into battle with that on my back, I'd leave it at the horse.
So as you can see now, once that final flag goes down, I'll be given the option to chase down the enemy or finish the battle. I will just finish the battle in this particular case. I'm going to assume that he'll have very few units left to mount his second attack.
So as you are in a battle, units themselves will get terrified and run away. And if they run away and they leave the battlefield, they actually will walk away from the battle alive and can muster their courage and try to strike a second time, which is why sometimes chasing the enemy down is a good idea.
Yes. However, if a unit has less than 15% of its original number, it will disband more often than not.
So the remaining units move back across their border, and Dave's castle town has been protected. And now it is coming back around to Dave's turn.
That's correct. Sorry about the little bit of dead air there, folks. I'm sure Paul has lots more to explain. This is quite an in-depth game. I'm just going to go about my turn. There shouldn't be much for me to do.
Alright, class, so listen up. Here we are playing the game Shogun Total War 2. I'm going to show you how the finance tab works. First, you have your taxes. Tax income can be increased, which will make your clan miserable, or it can be lowered, which will make your province very happy. The color of the province on this map is actually their current level of happiness. Keeping the tax level in the middle does tend to still keep them happy as long as you're taking care of the town. There's also trade, where you can see who you are trading with and what materials you are trading with. Resources are gathered from some provinces have resources, and trading posts also have resources, which I mentioned earlier, naval trading posts. And then you got your summary tab, which says, based on your starting treasury and your next turn, what your assumed profit and end units are. Last season, I had a profit of negative 2,591. However, by next year, I should have a profit of positive 2,209 if I stop spending.
Now this battle that's just come up, I'm going to auto-resolve because I have such a clear advantage. It would just be a waste of hours in your time for us to continue with it. So, I'm likely to wipe them out, which I did. Units will replenish as long as they're in a friendly province by a rate based on the replenishment rate of the province, which can be seen by looking at the
I can't remember where that is.
Province management town. When you click on the castle town, you can click on the name of the town, and it'll show you that.
Right.
Now, since I'm assuming that the Oda have sent the majority of their army, I am going to try to take their castle town. But I couldn't quite reach, so I'll have to wait till next turn to finish that. And that's the end of my turn. Paul, I'm just going to mute for a quick second, and so take your time on your turn if you could, and we'll go from there.
Will do. Alright, so this is the castle management tab that Dave was mentioning. I was actually looking for it while showing you other things. Oh! Here is our first art mastered. So, in the Way of Qi, I have mastered my first art. Now I am currently studying Zen. Zen allows me to build Buddhists. Let's go to the Ministry of Arts. The Way of Qi allows the building of a market. The Way of Bushido allows the building of a sword school. These two tech trees, Qi and Bushido, are government and stealth based or straight combat based. As I am going to be a warlord and take over with an iron fist, I'm going to switch from Qi to Bushido to increase my ability to create swordsmen, because I like swordsmen. I got a thing for samurai. Now this is the castle management tab that Dave was mentioning. In here you can see your current positive and negative effects on public order. You can also see your province's specialty, your province's current religious influences, your production level, your for food and for consumption of food, your supply across the entire province itself, whether it's a positive or negative. Down here in the bottom corner, your food is based. This is the entire clan's food, which is a combination of all provinces that you own. Your current growth, your current wealth, and you can then check the province's finances. Currently, I have a positive public order of 2 points. Things leading to public order, castle representation. Currently, I have 4 positive, and I have a predicted 5th point. This is predicted because they're assuming that when my castle gets upgraded from a fort to a stronghold, it will increase public order. I also have a character represented, who is probably my daimyo, who is resting in the town, as well as the fact there's garrison forces. Each unit you have garrisoned within your town will provide public order. The negative points is the tax burden. Because I have the taxes set to the middle, it'll give me 4 points of tax burden. If I were to increase it, that would increase the number of tax burden tokens until eventually it overwhelmed the positive in my nation, and that would cause civil unrest, possible rioting, and your town can actually, you lose your town, and your town then becomes an enemy unit. and you have to take it back over through combat. Never a pleasant thing to have happen. I'm going to grab my unit that's out here in the Ugo clan and start moving it towards where I'm hoping their castle is.
The castles are actually marked by that little picture there that you can see. They're generally in the general vicinity of the picture of a castle.
Oh, hey, look, a castle. Yeah, I got nothing. This is my current treasury. This is my income per turn, as long as nothing changes. Things can always change, though. Trade routes can be embargoed. You can have towns taken over. You can be given money out of falling Rainbow Dash, flying overhead, dropping bags of money on your face. I don't know. There's going to be other ways you can get money in the game through random events that occur. I just had no idea where I was going with that one.
Yeah. Random events do occur, such as tsunamis might damage your town, or a bountiful harvest might increase your farming income for a period of time. There's a lot of different things that can happen. It's, I wouldn't say realistic, but it's a very involved game, and it does really immerse you into the world of the strategy and the feudal Japan.
Alright,
Okay.
Dave, I'm going to end my turn, because it appears you are back.
I am. I've just got one thing to say, folks. Never get married. Just kidding. It's worth it, but not always.
Dave. You've got a wife who's letting you play video games online with someone halfway across the world. You can't really say it's all bad.
Yeah, I couldn't really ask for more.
Alright, now, if you notice my unit here, while Dave takes his turn, the flag for my unit currently has a red flashing skull on it. The reason for this glorious sign of hope and prosperity is the fact that I'm in enemy territory during the winter. Now, back in the days of feudal Japan, we didn't really have Snuggies and space heaters to keep us all fresh and warm during the winter months. In fact, if you were in enemy territory marching across the snowy terrain, you probably wound up with people getting rather sick, people dying. And as such, your armies do face entropy as you are in enemy territory during the winter month. The winter season will remove, I believe, up to 10% of your units from each of your pieces of your army. So if you have an archer unit that has 150 men, you may be down to 135 by the time winter ends. This entropy can be made more severe or less severe based on just randomly generated figures within the game. 10% is a ballpark estimate. And my cat is meowing in my ear. This entropy is something...
Your cat. Your cat's awesome. Sorry.
She is awesome. Except she's being very loud tonight. She is seeking the company of a male cat, which, since there is none, she's being very vocal about her displeasure in this case.
I am going to do this battle instead of auto-resolving, but we're going to skip over this footage for you and just show you the end result.
Alright, as you can see on my screen, Dave has achieved a decisive victory. Decisive victory meaning that he lost little to no units while still being able to take out the enemy forces. So this castle will be his once we close the window. As he just spoke up, he said no units in this case. But we're actually going to end the video here, and we'll be picking up shortly after this point from the next section. If you have any comments, positive or negative, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see more games like Shogun Total War, certainly let me know. Dave and I won't be able to do this as regularly, being as there's a 14-hour time gap between us. We do have a little bit of scheduling issues sometime, but we do try to get a game in or two per week. So we'll be playing more of the Shogun Total War game, and I hope to see you all there. As well, we should have another episode of XCOM Apocalypse by Tuesday morning, should be when it's released. Sorry, not XCOM Apocalypse, XCOM Enemy Unknown. Wrong XCOM game. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again soon.